Hi. Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my first impressions plus on-feet video of the brand new Adidas Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility in the Mercury Pack colorway. As with the other $300 models from Adidas, this does come in a drawer style box. Pull the drawer open and they do include a couple of extras. The first thing that you get is a set of comfort insoles to go along with the lightweight, thinner, perforated ones already inside of the shoes. These, as you can see, feature a very soft kind of synthetic suede material lining the top of the insole, and it's made from a solid, slightly thicker variation of foam, again, in comparison to the ones already inside the shoes. They also include a string bag. The string bag, as you can see, is a black perforated mesh, features black strings, has a little kind of separation stitch running down the middle so that it's separated each shoe. And then of course you do have the Adidas logo and your Messi branding on either side. And then along with all those extras, you do of course get the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what is the latest Messi signature model, one of two top-end models that is now available, this being the more expensive of the two top-end models, the 16 Plus Pure Agility. Now, as you guys can see, this does have what is a lace cover, and unlike what a lot of the press release pictures would suggest, these do actually have laces. In fact, the design is quite similar to that of the X16 Plus Pure Chaos, with just some variation in the upper materials. If you guys missed my video on the Pure Chaos, I'll leave an annotation on screen. It's definitely worth a look if you haven't seen it already. But in today's video, we're basically going to be going over all of the details on the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility. It's a very, very interesting shoe. The upper, as you guys can see, is pretty cool. It's a mesh-based synthetic material that we really haven't seen from Adidas before, not prime knit, but still a very, very interesting design. It has a sprint frame now. It's got some elements from the previous Messi 15.1 that this is replacing, but at the same time, they've changed quite a bit. And for the most part, I would say it is a true complete redesign. So we're gonna go over all the details in today's video. So if you wanna learn more in regards to tech specs, general fit, feel, performance, the weight, everything you could possibly wanna know, stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes. You'll be able to pick these up below their normal $300 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's go over all the tech specs and performance features of the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility. Now for me, the first thing that I noticed when I saw this shoe in person is the upper. That is a very distinctive element of this shoe, mainly because you can pretty much see the entire construction of the material, the top layer, the mid layer, and the layer on the underside, which is kind of a cool little thing. Not sure if that'll continue with future colorways, but basically this is their new Agility Knit upper, which you see listed right here along with Tech Fit in the list of features section on the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility. I thought that was kind of strange that they put Tech Fit and then Agility Knit just kind of like side by side as a list. But anyways, this is the upper. It's a mesh-based synthetic. You can see the actual mesh pattern closer to the top here where it's not covered up with this kind of silvery finish. It has more of a clear finish right here. And you can see it's a very open mesh. It's not super tightly knit. It's basically, that's the base layer, and then you have layers of polyurethane on top as well as on the inside to hold it all together. Now, obviously, the shoe itself and the design is quite similar to that of the Pure Chaos model, and we're going to be comparing them side by side throughout this entire video because ultimately what it comes down to when you're talking about the difference between the Messi shoe and the X16 Plus is the upper material. Everything else, while there are differences, they're still pretty similar. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably already leaving it down below in the comments. This Agility Knit material probably reminds you a lot of this, the first generation Nike Skin upper found on the Hypervenom Phantom 2 as well as the Hypervenom Finish. And yes, the concept of Agility Knit is quite similar, being that it is a kind of open mesh-based synthetic material, but the actual feel of the material, both on foot as well as when it comes to touch on the ball, they're very, very different. What you get from Nike is a thicker upper, something that has more variation when it comes to the thickness of the actual mesh base, and because of that it feels thin, but at the same time it has kind of a cushion sensation when making touches on the ball, where this is more of a flat mesh and it feels pretty much just thin in general. There is some padding to it because of the mesh material. That's just the nature of something like that. But like I said, for the most part, especially in comparison to first generation Nike Skin, this is a very thin shoe, and out of all the $300 models on offer from Adidas, the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility is the thinnest one on offer. So it is going to offer more of a barefoot sensation on the ball. The finish on the upper, pretty straightforward. It's just kind of a polyurethane finish as you would expect. Not really anything that's particularly grippy, no elements or anything like that. It does not feature non-stop grip like you're going to find on other top-end models from Adidas for whatever reason. That's just not something that they included on the Messi line. Same with the previous model, the 15.1, but nonetheless, the upper feels pretty good, and it's going to offer a touch that, like I said, is on the thinner side. Now, it does have laces, like I mentioned at the start of the video. You can see them right here. Basically, what you have is their Pure Cut system, which is a lace cover slash shroud that covers up the laces. So what's exactly happening here? You have your Tech Fit collar, which is this blue extension piece you see running down the back as well as at the top of the lace cover area. This is basically an elasticated material. It's got some good thickness to it. It feels really kind of rugged and heavy duty, not something that's going to break down over time. And it's pretty much the same as what you're going to find again on that 16 Plus Pure Chaos model. This is Pure Agility. This is Pure Chaos. With that being said, it's the same system. The difference that you're going to find is actually where it ends on the inside of the shoe. So if you guys watched my video on the Pure Chaos, you have a pretty good idea of what's happening right here already. Essentially, this Tech Fit system runs down to the base of the shoe, but ends at this seam. So you can see on the Pure Chaos model, the seam runs almost straight across the forefoot area on a slight curve. So this entire part right here, both sides of the shoe, feature the Tech Fit as the base for the synthetic, and you have a very large chunk of this elasticated material wrapping your foot. Now on the Messi model, you can see that the seam is different. It's not straight across, it's in the shape of a V, and it goes all the way almost to the back third of the shoe, closer towards the heel, and that is the transition point to where this collar ends, and it's just straight up agility knit. So you have less of a Tech Fit collar on the inside of this particular shoe, so not quite as tight a wrap with this material through the midfoot, but that doesn't necessarily make the shoe feel bad by any means. It's just something that's a little bit different. So the lace cover is basically just a lace cover, and you can see when I push the collar down on the inside, it goes all the way there across the top of the foot. It's a little bit difficult to see. There it is. Got some better lighting there. And then you have 3 nylon straps on either side, kind of in like a V pattern, that run into the base of this kind of seam, and that's what's attaching your laces there. So you can see the strap hopefully right there. I'm kind of holding it open. It's really, really difficult to show you guys because I can't actually open the shoe up, but hopefully you get a better idea there. You can see it pretty clearly, but you have those straps. So basically what you would do is you would put your foot, pull it inside the shoe. Once your foot is in there, you can't really lace up each row of laces individually just because of this lace cover. So you'd pull the laces, and it seems to do a pretty effective job of lacing them all the way from the bottom. Not that it goes very far down. It's a little bit shallower than what you're going to find on the Pure Chaos model, just because the seam ends kind of a little bit further up. So the lacing system basically runs from here to here on this particular shoe, whereas on this shoe it runs a little bit longer. It's a little bit deeper, which again, the lockdown is not an issue with either of these two models, just something that I thought I would mention. But that's basically how this system works. You have this Tech Fit collar that kind of stretches out when you slide your foot in, then it compresses back to the shape of your foot almost like a sock would, and then you have the laces to lock everything in place, the nylon straps to add some stability to the sides as well, and then of course the agility knit upper for the rest of the shoe. And this front part here where you don't have any laces does have an internal lining material, so it is reinforced and it doesn't feel sloppy or I guess unstable by any means, despite there not being any laces around this particular area of the foot. With that being said, if you're somebody who likes a super tight fit from your shoes, because of that shallow lacing system, you can't really tighten up the front part of the shoe. So again, if you don't want kind of not necessarily a loose fit, but you like your foot to kind of be squeezed inside the shoe. You don't necessarily get that sensation from this particular model. Same goes for this shoe, just because it does have a fairly shallow lacing system. Now moving on to the back area of this TechFit collar, you can see that you do have the same kind of extended tendon guard area. It's got that little bit of an S curve to it. This is kind of shared from the Ultra Boost as well as the PrimeKnit 2.0, if you guys can remember back to that particular model from Adidas. But again, in comparison to the X16 Plus, it is a little bit different, mainly in that it's just a touch shorter, which I personally prefer. It doesn't actually feel any different when you're wearing it, but I think it just looks a little bit better. It looks less abnormal, I guess is the best way to put it. And then as far as the heel liner is concerned, it's just a synthetic suede material, same thing you would find on the X16 Plus, but without that little extra texturing that you have, the little rubber grips, which aren't necessarily something that I think you need on this particular shoe. It locks your heel in place quite nicely, and there's actually a really nice amount of super soft padding back here. So step-in comfort and heel lockdown in general is very, very good with both of these two shoes. Insole, fully removable. This is the lightweight one that I talked about at the start. Mesh liner on top, perforations throughout. It's just a single layer of this blue foam, a little bit thin, but if you find that this is too thin, you do include the extra set, so you can slide those in and have a little bit more underfoot cushioning. You can see that the shroud or pure cut lace cover, whatever you want to call it, basically just extends around the heel. It's kind of stitched in right here, so it's not completely open. Hopefully you guys can see that. Kind of has a little bit of a weird look depending on what you think looks cool, but that's how they chose to do things. You do have an internal heel counter as opposed to an external heel counter, despite this shoe now having a sprint frame. So that is something that's a little bit different, again, when you're comparing the X16 Plus and the Messi 16 Plus. And then moving on to the sole plate, it is a sprint frame. It's the same general layout that we had on the Messi 15.1 in terms of how these little kind of ridges are formed, but you don't have the stuff in between. It's just a single layer of plastic. That's definitely going to reduce the weight of this shoe, something we'll take a look at in the video in just a second. So that is the sprint frame technology, if you will, is the fact that this is going to be lighter than what we found on the previous Messi model. And the actual stud pattern itself, it is still FG-AG, so usable on firm natural grass as well as artificial grass. And it's the same stud pattern again that we got on the Messi 15.1. It's a complete carryover. It's the one aspect of this shoe that really hasn't been redesigned. So the stud layout is typical of what you get from pretty much every Adidas model at the moment. 6 4-foot studs, 1 support stud in the middle, 4 heel studs. They just changed the shape of the studs. So the Messi model, as you guys can see, has triangular base studs that are kind of rounded at the tip at the very front and very back of the shoe. And then the rest of the studs are triangular as well, but they're more narrow. They have a very small kind of face to them, so they'll dig into the ground quite nicely, provide probably the most amount of bite of all the current stud patterns on offer from Adidas, and the traction is very, very good. You have the same layout, just slight variation with the studs with any of their shoes, and in all honesty, they perform very, very similarly, but all perform pretty well, so can't really complain about traction whatsoever. The one thing that I will say in regards to this particular stud pattern is, while it is listed as FG-AG, it definitely is more of an FG stud pattern in my opinion. So if you are going to be using these, yes, they are suitable for use on artificial grass, but it doesn't necessarily have the sensation of a true artificial grass stud pattern. But that is pretty much it as far as tech specs and what you need to know performance-wise about the Messi 16.1 Pure Agility. The Pure Agility name would suggest that this is going to make you more agile. It isn't. I really think that the agility name just plays to Messi himself being a very, very agile player, so that's where they got the name for it. There's nothing specifically about this shoe that I would say caters towards a more agile player, but just something I wanted to point out. You guys got all the tech specs now. Hopefully that explains the shoe, because it is a little bit complicated and difficult to explain because a lot of the elements are kind of hidden beneath this little shroud here. But hopefully that clears things up. If you do have any more questions, leave them down below in the comments. I'll get an answer out to you. And with that being said, let's take a look at the weight of the shoe so we can see how light they are. When it comes to weight, the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility is actually a pretty lightweight shoe, but because the design is so similar to that of the X16 Plus Pure Chaos, I thought I'd weigh the two side by side using this scale in real time. So keep in mind, these are both in brand new condition and both the exact same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the Pure Chaos, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7 ounces exactly, the equivalent of 198 grams. Remember those numbers. We'll we'll change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the Pure Agility, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.2 ounces, the equivalent of 205 grams. So you're talking about a weight difference of 7 grams, which is essentially nothing. You won't notice that in hand. You especially won't notice that on feet. And for the most part, weight should not be the deciding factor if you're trying to pick between the Pure Chaos and the Pure Agility. It should really be about the fit and the feel. So with that being said, they're both lightweight shoes in kind of a similar weight range to a lot of popular top-end models. The Magista Obra comes to mind, the Superfly 4 comes to mind. Superfly 5 is a little bit less than these weight-wise, but like I said, they're still gonna feel nice and lightweight on feet in comparison to pretty much anything else out there. So if you're looking for that lightweight feel, you definitely will get that from the 16 Plus Pure Agility. Aesthetically, this is a complete redesign in comparison to the Messi 15.1, a shoe that was not well received mainly because of its looks. Some people thought those were weird looking, some people thought they were straight up ugly, and I think a lot of those opinions will remain for the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility, just because depending on what you think of modern looking soccer shoes, you may find these ugly, and I think it's pretty hard to deny that they aren't weird looking no matter who you are. But for me, honestly, I like the design. It has a very kind of futuristic, spacey vibe to it, especially with the metallic silver base that you have for the majority of the upper. I like the fact that you can actually see the mesh base to the Agility knit synthetic material. That to me is just really, really cool. I like this kind of V design they have going here with the stitching covered up. Then you have the end in the actual kind of polyurethane cover as well. To me, that's kind of a cool little design element. This does bear the 3 Adidas stripes, unlike the X16 Plus Pure Agility or the X16 line that, yeah, technically it does have the 3 stripes, but it's in the form of the actual Adidas logo. This does have an Adidas logo in orange there on the back, and you're also going to find the Messi branding in silver that is pretty subtle on the shoe. The blue accent color is really, really nice. It's what they call shock blue. It's kind of like a lighter royal blue, I guess is the best way to put it. Looks really cool. You do have some black detail within the actual Tech Fit collar that sticks up as well. Black stripes that are a nice matte black, which I kind of like. And then of course the kind of mirrored chrome finish to the sole plate with translucent blue studs. You will find some product pages that show completely translucent studs. Those are likely pre-production variations of the shoe that they got prior to the release just to have pictures ready. This is, if you order a pair, regardless of what is pictured, what you will receive. They will have blue studs, not clear studs. And as far as the actual chrome finish on the sole plate is concerned, it does come with a warning sticker that lets you know that the finish will wear off over time, just like what you're going to find with the Pure Chaos as well as the Pure Control models from Adidas. So something to note is that, like I said, the chrome finish will wear off over time, but obviously won't affect the performance of the shoe, just the aesthetic of the bottom of the sole plate, which I don't think is too big of a deal. But that's pretty much it in terms of what I think in regards to the aesthetics. I think it's a pretty cool looking shoe. I don't mind them at all, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes look and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agilities on feet. Obviously with the lace cover, it does give the shoe a very unique look. On the right foot, I tucked the laces in just because you can. There's not a lot of extra space with this particular lace cover though, so you can see the lump on where the laces actually are tucked in here on the side, which doesn't look the best in my opinion. You can leave them untucked like I did on my left foot. That's what it would look like. It's a little bit easier to do, but again, it's a personal preference thing at the end of the day, and I don't think it makes too much of a difference whatsoever. It really is more of a cosmetic thing as opposed to something that's going to make any performance difference. As far as the way these things fit and feel on feet though, despite having a very similar design to that of the X16 Plus Pure Chaos, these do actually fit a little bit different. The way they fit in the heel is pretty similar, given that they do have pretty much the same kind of S-curve back, similar heel liner. It doesn't have those same little grip dots on the back, but the synthetic suede they use grips your heel really nicely, and heel slippage is not an issue whatsoever, despite the shallow lacing system that doesn't go down very low and doesn't go up very high. It's kind of there in the midfoot area. But again, heel slippage does not seem to be an issue at all. They fit really, really well out of the box. The actual Tech Fit collar system that runs down the midfoot area Obviously doesn't run as far as what you're going to find on the Pure Chaos model, and it also seems to fit a little bit tighter. It feels slightly narrower through the midfoot than what you find with the X line, which is not a bad thing. It's just a slight difference as far as fit is concerned. So if you're looking for the wider of the two shoes with the lace cover, it would be the X rather than the Pure Agility model. Like I said, it does have a slightly tighter fit, but I wouldn't say is narrow by any means. It's just a slightly tighter fit through the midfoot. And the forefoot toe box area doesn't have any laces, still fits pretty snug, doesn't feel sloppy by any means. And again, it's got a tighter fit overall in comparison to what you get from the Pure Chaos. As far as width is concerned, aside from the midfoot, the rest of the shoe has some decent width to it. And they will be suitable for most people as long as you don't mind a tighter fitting shoe. Stretch wise though, I don't think you're going to get too much stretch out of this particular upper. So the way they fit from right out of the box is the way you can anticipate them fitting for pretty much their entire lifespan. And as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, these should fit you just fine. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my first impressions of the Adidas Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility. Stay tuned to the channel for more content on this shoe as well as the rest of the new models from Adidas. If you guys are interested in more info right now on this shoe, check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself. That'll give you a better idea as to how they actually do look in person, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below the normal $300 retail price. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.